Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about fantasy stories. We're going to talk about how they are developed, the parts that makes them a story, and also we're going to talk about family tree. So let's pay attention and let's keep working. The first thing that we need to do is to get a definition of what a fantasy story is. Fantasy stories are tales that use magic and other supernatural events as the most important elements in the story. Those stories are not logical, but rather are inspired by real places and people. And the ending of a fantasy story is always unrealistic. So, we have fantasy stories are fiction because they use magic and other supernatural events and not logical. And the ending normally is unrealistic. Some examples of fantasy stories are this: Aladdin, Shrek, Harry Potter, Frozen. I myself haven't seen these movies since the third one, I think. Frozen, I think I seen it one. I have seen it one. Shrek, a lot of times. I really love Shrek. And Aladdin, I saw the movie just once. So I'm not really familiar with them. But probably you are. And those are fantasy stories. Now remember this. Every story has three parts. A beginning, a middle, that takes you to an ending. In the beginning or opening is where the author introduces the main characters, the setting, and the conflict, where you are going to have to get some kind of involvement. Now, the body of development is where we have a series of events when you have some kind of complication, not the conflict. This is also where the characters change and grow. And finally, the ending. Here is the main conflict, and here is resolved. Now, this sounds quite simple, right? Beginning, where you get the knowledge of the characters, the body of development, the series of events, complications, and finally the ending. And they lived happily ever after. For example, if you take this story, Aladdin, well, you're going to have, first of all, the title. What is the title? Aladdin is the name of the story. Then you're going to have a plot, right? A plot where you are going to have what the story is about. Aladdin is a story about a poor boy who finds a magic lamp with a genie inside who can grant wishes. Oh, we would like to have that one, a genie that can help us with our problems. Well, this kind of stories also has, or sometimes they don't, but many times they have a narrator. The stories have a narrator, and it's the person who's going to tell the story. Once upon a time, this happens, and in the meantime, etc. Setting, number 4. The setting is where the story is going to take place. In this case, Aladdin is going to take place in the desert and in a castle, a palace. Number 5. Characters in this kind of stories sometimes are people, animals, imaginary creatures that appear in the story. And they can be divided, the characters, personajes. Remember, characters is not características. No. Characters is personajes, like Batman. He's a character. Superman. This is a character, okay? Superman, Popeye, any of these creatures are characters, and they can be divided in main character. In this story is Aladdin, and normally the main characters, of course, they are the most important characters. Then we have supporting characters. They appear frequently in the story and help the main characters to reach the goal. In this case, Aladdin wanted to get a fortune that he can offer to the princess. Well, here we have some examples: Sultan, Jafar, the tiger, etc. Number 6, the climax is the most exciting or important part of the story. In this case, when Aladdin fights against Jafar. And finally, the twist is a change in the story intended to surprise. Aladdin liberates, releases the genie from the lamp. Okay, of course, these are kind of stories that you probably know, and probably you can come with some other stories. Stories like Shrek, The Weeping Woman, La Llorona, Sleepy Hollow, Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl, Frozen, The Pied Piper, Harry Potter. Some of them are tales, stories written. Some of them are legends, but they are fantastic fantasy stories. Shrek about an ogre that lives in a swamp, that goes and rescues a princess that becomes his true love, and she changes and becomes also an ogre herself. Well, she actually was spelled with that. The Weeping Woman, Sleepy Hollow, about that horse, that headless horseman. The Legend of Popocatépetl, Frozen, which I don't know really well. The Pied Piper, about that piper that liberated a town out of an infestation of rats, but when he was not paid, then he took away all the children that lived in that town. Well, in this case, all of them has some kind of magical objects. And that's the reason that they are considered fantasy stories. Fantasy stories. Now, you need to think who is the main character of each story. In this case, Aladdin is the main one in Aladdin. Harry Potter, Shrek, the Weeping Woman are the main characters of the story. What are the magical objects? Well, Shrek also has some things that can help him. In Shrek 2, he becomes a handsome man. There are magic mirrors in Shrek as well. Supporting characters. Well, there are a lot of supporting characters in Shrek, in Aladdin, in Harry Potter. The secondary characters. The setting of the story, normally you're going to have castles or places that are very distant and wonderful. And talking about this, talking about supporting characters, we are going to find family members that are supporting characters. For example, in Cinderella, en Cenicienta, she has stepsisters. Ella tiene hermanastras. Those are supporting characters. The main character is Cinderella. And the supporting characters are stepsisters, las hermanastras. And that's the reason we have this kind of structure in a fantasy story. And because we are going to talk about family, we need to get vocabulary. Family tree. Now let's explain a few of them, okay? In this case, family tree is like we call in Spanish, árbol genealógico. We're going to have that, and it's called tree because it has many branches. Relationship. You're right, relación. The relationship between all of them. A member of the family. What is that in Spanish? Member. There you go, miembro. Mother, father. The two main components in a family. We also have another step up. Grandmother, grandfather, abuela, abuelo. But we also have son and daughter, hijo, hija. Brother, hermano. Sister, hermana. Uncle, tío. Aunt, tía. Cousin, primo. Nephew, sobrino. Niece, sobrina. Siblings, hermanos, la relación que hay entre todos ellos. Hermanos, hermanas, siblings. Husband, esposo. Wife, esposa. Can you remember this? Let's try again. Think about the following. family tree, relationship, member, mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, son, daughter, brother and sister, uncle, aunt, cousins, nephews, nieces, siblings, husband, wife. Try to think about it. You already know the definition in Spanish, so use it. Think about a family. Think about the Simpsons. Think about Homer and Marge, mother and father. Daughter, Lisa, Maggie, they are daughters of Homer and Marge. And Bart, of course, is the son. Okay, take a look at this picture that you have in front of you. Here we have two members, Ulrich and Katrina. Katrina is Mikkel's mother. Marta is Magnus' sister. Magnus is Mikkel's brother. Ulrich is Marta's father. Magnus is Katrina's son. Marta is Ulrich's daughter. Marta, Magnus, Mikkel are siblings. Ulrich is Katrina's husband. Katrina is Ulrich's wife. One more time. Katrina is Mikkel's mother. Marta is Magnus' sister. She is his sister. Magnus is Mikkel's brother. They are brothers. Ulrich is Marta's father. Magnus is Katrina's son. He is Katrina's son. Marta is Ulrich's and Katrina's daughter. Daughter. Repeat with me the vocabulary. Marta, Magnus, and Mikkel are siblings. Ulrich is Katrina's husband. And Katrina is Ulrich's wife. Now let's try to solve this one. Let's get this straight. Para este ejercicio, saca un screenshot o pon el video en pausa para que puedas solucionarlo. Take a look at this. Okay, so we need to know the names of all of them. So we will go with the relationships. This is John. John's father is Max. Well, this guy is his father because he's in the family tree. Max's daughter is Ana. Ana es la hija de Max. Así que, this is Ana. Ana's mother is Lucy. Okay, she is Lucy, is the mother, is in the same branch of the family. Right? Now the next one. Mary is John's grandmother. John and the grandmother. So that's Mary. Peter is Anna's grandfather. There you go. The only grandfather that we have here is this. Ted is Anna and John's cousin. Primo. Ted, that is Ted. Joseph is Max's brother. Yes, the guy with the beard, el tipo de la barba, es el hermano de Max. Next one. Ariel is Ted's sister, la hermana de Ted. Ana es hermana de John. Ariel is the sister of Ted's. Next one. Johanna is John's aunt. Johanna es la tía de John. Y por último, el bebé que nos falta, el pequeño más pequeño. Aquí dice Joseph is John's uncle. Okay, but what is the name of this one? Así que le vamos a cambiar el nombre y le vamos a poner Toby. Y por supuesto que Joseph is Toby's uncle. Y esos son los parentescos. Trata de memorizarlos y practicarlos todos. Es un family tree. Father, mother, daughter, son, brother, sister, grandmother, grandfather, uncle, aunt. Espero que hayas encontrado entretenida esta sesión. Nos estamos viendo próximamente. Practica el family tree. Bye bye.